And so then we're walking past, and out of nowhere, I see this little cop. And I gotta say, like, he's a tiny man. Okay. But I see a little cop, and the cop is looking at the guy. And we're walking past, and I just snitched. I dropped the dime so hard. I go, this guy's following us. This guy's following us, sir.
It was tough. It was tough to see. It was tough to see. And I was like, wait, what did we just do? I'm like, we definitely could have taken this guy.
I mean, I'm not necessarily. Down. Oh. I'm eating brunch with my people though. The homie Dyke just cooked up a feast and we bout to eat it, bro. Fucked around and has to mix the lobster with the protein. Daddy is rolling blow dream. Them boys got down a routine. It's Naptown culture. Cooking 7 courses. Had to pass the torch and now I'm grabbing second portion. So sit back, relax, grab a drink and a smoke. It's Harder Brunch on the way and get prepared for the jokes. Whoa.
Hi, and welcome to the Harder Brunch Podcast. I'm your host, Dyke Michaels. With me, as always, my co-host, Thaddaeus Mckee. On the ones of twos, the wheels of steel, the sauce boss of Indianapolis, and the last broke dragon. Give it up for Zach Rohn, everybody.
Hey there.
And very special returning champion with us in studio. Is this the second time on the Harder Brunch Podcast? Not after brunch. We can't count those.
So we might second?
I think it's the second. Yes. I think it's the second jacket. The second.
But it's my 4th time being here.
Yes.
But yes, this is my 2nd time on the show.
Oh, and you've been here before and didn't jump on the show.
Yeah, I just came for free food.
Oh, so I said you're almost ready for the 5-time jacket up there. I lied. You're not even close.
She's a 2-star jacket.
Yeah, you got the 2-star jacket though, which is even more expensive.
I'm closer than most people though.
Yes. Yes, you are.
What if, like, every jacket level you got that many jackets too? We're just really bad at jackets. So you're gonna give her 2 jackets now?
2 jackets.
Friend of the I gotta say, Kat from the Fake Ass Book Club, which is one of my favorite local podcasts, and I had the wonderful experience of being on it. Yes. Y'all made me read a book. It had been a while.
But you did the homework.
I did the homework. It was very fun. It was a good time. I also enjoyed being, because I had you both over here on this show, and so it's interesting to see other people's, like, oh, this is their setup, this is how they do things, and like it was made it very comfortable. You had a little snack, and we had a little cocktail or a mimosa or something.
Who knows? That was such a long time ago.
And I gotta say, even for people that don't have food-based podcasts, I love that kind of hospitality. And I think it's because of everything that we do over here on a weekly basis. When I go and someone doesn't even offer me like something with the booze in it. You know, I don't have to drink it, but you know, like,
just the
it's nice,
offer, the hospitality it makes you feel welcome. I'm glad you felt that, because we were so grateful when we came on here, because you went all out. I was like, we can't have him on and have nothing. That'd be so rude. So
so you kind of spiced it up for him.
Yeah, we don't usually make a quiche for everybody. We usually always have like drinks for sure, but like we don't always have food. We can't always get it together. But we were like, I've eaten for free so much here.
And real quick, because you have been on before, but just tell the people that maybe missed that episode real quick about the podcast.
Okay, so yes, I'm one half of the Fake Ass Book Club, also known as the Fab Podcast, if you don't like to cuss. This was my co-host Moni's brainchild. She was like, we need to hang out more, and I agreed. And so we were like, let's do a podcast, and we decided to make it about books because we also need to read more. But we added the fake ass part because we don't always have time to read books. Like, we just reviewed Harley Quinn Birds of Prey yesterday. Yesterday was Batman Day. Did you guys know that?
Oh, that makes more sense. Why those homeless people were following us and scared. No, sorry.
Were you in Gotham?
It was just a weird day, like, where like I felt like a lot of villainous people. I'm not just saying homeless people, but villainous people were following us, and maybe they're trying to get Batman, like a Batman character, to come out. But anyways, that's so off subject. I'm so sorry.
Not really. It was apropos because I brought up Batman. But yeah, so we just watched a movie because we didn't have time to read a book. But I like to tell people, last year we record every week, every Wednesday, 7:30, check in. And we recorded 52 episodes last year, and we read 28 books.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's a good stat. So I'll be interested to see I'm an informatics major, so I always want to like see charts, numbers. Yeah. And so I'll be interested to see like in 2023 how we do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, you guys have a really it's a really fun energy, because I feel like there's a possibility for a book club podcast to be very dry.
Yeah, kind of stodgy. I think I'm really into like literature and art, which is seen as sort of kind of old and stodgy, which it's not. Like these are all things that should be fun. I think a lot of time when stuff's pop culture, people look down on it. But even the fancy stuff we look at now, let's take ballet, for instance. Ballet was like banned in Victorian England for being too vulgar. And like now it's the height of fanciness. So it was always like one of my predictions that in the future, like twerking is going to be seen as super classy. Even though like now it's seen as like, kind of lowbrow, but it'll be a point where it's just like, wow, like who knows that there might be like competitions and you can like,
there definitely are.
Are there?
Twerking competitions?
I want to go to one. Let's go. You sound like you're in the know. Like I'm not in that circle, so let me know. Yeah.
And I have another question. Since you brought up Batman Day, who is your favorite Batman out of all of them?
By far, Lego Batman. Who was that guy?
Oh yeah.
Was it
really?
Was it not Will Forte? Arnett.
Will Arnett. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting choice. I've never heard anybody say Will Arnett.
I'm very unique.
Dyke, do you have one? And so I'm supposed to have one.
I think my favorite Batman is Kevin Conroy.
Clooney.
Kevin Conroy, the animated Batman.
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
Because he was on it, I think technically the longest, because he had there was 9 years of the animated series. He did Batman. He did Justice League after that. He did Batman, Superman, and he did Batman Beyond. So he did it for almost 20 years.
That's solid. I can respect that.
Dang, you guys are really pulling out that nerd knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Clooney. Probably Clooney for me.
That's not bad.
Because of the bat nipples?
I like bat nipples.
That was a very kitsch Batman for sure.
I always say that it always gets shit on, and I think that if you look at it from the lens of, I think Tim Burton tried to make a very dark Batman, but what was right before then was the 60s Adam West Batman, and I think Joel Schumacher was trying to, he grew up with that, and I think he was trying to pay homage to that, but if you look at it if you look at George Clooney's Batman like a 90s Adam West Batman, then it makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
It was entertaining. Well, I remember liking it at the time. Which one was the one Prince did the soundtrack for?
That was that was the one with Jim Carrey and
Who was
Wait,
Batman?
are you talking about Seal?
No, I'm talking about no.
Oh no, the Prince. Sorry, Prince did the original Batman.
Did he? Okay, with Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Okay, with Bat Dance.
Yeah,
loved Bat Dance.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking of Seal when she said Prince too.
Yeah,
I was like, wait a second.
No, I like Clooney. Everybody craps on Clooney. I really, because that was my first Batman that I saw, and then I went back with the Adam West, and I'd watch the old TV shows.
I think it might be worth a rewatch. I haven't seen it since I was a child, so I think I'd like to go back and watch it as an adult.
Christopher Nolan's Batman's the most entertaining, but go ahead.
Oh, I didn't. Mine was Keaton.
Well, yours is Keaton?
Yeah.
Michael Keaton. Yeah, those were solid. Did you watch Birdman?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
Birdman
that
was
really
great.
good.
Such a good movie.
That was a good one. Yeah.
I didn't. I actually I really liked Ben Affleck more than I thought I would. He's probably one of my.
I think people were too hard on him. I actually did like Ben Affleck.
Going into it,
Batfleck.
I was really, really skeptical of it, and then I think he was probably my favorite part of the movie.
You know what? He didn't get a good Joker. I think that's the thing, because there's no Batman without Joker, and when you don't have, because it's funny, none of us really mentioned who was the dude, Christian Bale.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
because he was decent. It was just his Joker was really solid.
I think Christian Bale always tends to be in the top of everyone's answers. So it's kind of like the hack answer to be like, hey, Christian Bale.
I don't think because even he admitted Heath Ledger overshone him. That was the thing. He ended up not being necessarily the best Batman because he had the best Joker.
It's the best movie, one of the best movies.
For sure.
But not the best Batman.
Cinematically.
There are also some people that I feel play a better Bruce Wayne, and then some people that play a better Batman, because I really did like Christian Bale's take on Bruce Wayne, where he's just like, Bruce Wayne's just a rich idiot,
Yeah.
And so he's just like, yeah, Bruce Wayne would do that. Yeah, Bruce Wayne burned his house down. Who cares? Or like when he brings the models to they're like swimming in the thing, and he's like, I just bought the hotel. I'm just like, oh yeah, that is a real dickhead thing to do.
Yeah, it's really obnoxious. I believed him as a rich asshole.
Whereas like Michael Keaton, and I love Michael Keaton. I would never shit on Michael Keaton, but Michael Keaton, Bruce Wayne was almost like, who is this guy? You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
But I do believe by far the best Batman movie was Lego Batman. I rewatched it yesterday. I'm like, this movie is pretty amazing.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen any of the Lego movies.
It makes me angry for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't have children, so.
But the Lego movies aren't even really for kids. I mean, they are, but there's so many deep cuts in it that it really was, to me, I can tell there were fans who made that movie. That to me is always important. I like fan service. I know people feel a way about it, but I'm like, what's the point of being a fan if I'm not getting serviced?
That's what I really like. This is getting really nerdy, but
sorry, everybody.
I started watching Lower Decks, and it's just all fan service.
I love it,
but it's just like it's really good, and it's really smart.
What's
really
Lower Decks?
Lower Decks is the animated Star Trek show
on Paramount Plus,
and it's basically it's just like they made a Star Trek show to reference all the other Star Trek shows
that aren't commanders.
They're like,
because it's the Lower Decks, because we're not following the captain or the lieutenant commander. None of the main characters. It's everybody doing the grunt work on the Enterprise.
It's for like kids that weren't getting bullied enough. Like if you guys aren't getting bullied enough, we're gonna make this TV show. You'll be sure to be shoved in the locker.
It's so great. And they can do all this stuff that Star Trek couldn't do because it's a cartoon. It's a full cartoon, and it's got a black lady protagonist. That's always fun.
That's what got me bullied as a kid. Was I was like an old school Doctor Who fan. And like even the kids that were into Star Trek, like even the nerds back then were like, what's Doctor Who? Yeah. And I'm like, no, it's this cool show that comes on once a week on Channel 20.
It's a little scrambled. It's fine.
Not everyone gets it. Like the station, not everyone gets it.
Did you hear David Tennant's coming back?
Of course, you know I did.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Do you see that TARDIS behind you?
Oh, so you've already watched it and came back.
I've been waiting a long time for this coming.
Great.
We should do a viewing party.
I strongly agree. I always want to do viewing parties.
Let's get all three people that are into Doctor Who in a room.
Well, no, when I was in high school, I had a friend who was from England, and she put me onto Doctor Who because she was really,
because it was huge over there. It was like one of the number one shows.
Yeah, when I flipped out because you didn't watch Lego Batman, that's how she felt when I didn't know who Doctor Who was.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah. So I was, but there was no internet back then, so it was more understandable that I hadn't seen Doctor Who than you haven't seen Lego Batman.
It's funny. I was gonna say every Christmas, Dyke tries to get me to watch like a Doctor. Like I don't realize I always fall asleep during it. But like last Christmas, like you started to show Doctor Who. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And then I'm like, wait, I feel like I've seen some of this before. It's like, yeah, you fall asleep every Christmas.
Every year I put this on, and every year you fall asleep.
Aw, that's a lovely tradition.
But I watched most of it, and I enjoyed it so much.
I tried to make Gwen. So like I made Gwen watch it, and she sat there like tried to be on her phone. I was like, put the fucking phone away. You're watching Doctor Who. Yeah. But then she made me go to a theater and see the Muppet Christmas movie.
Oh, I love the Muppet Christmas movie.
It was fun. It was very enjoyable. But I feel like an hour versus 2 hours. I feel like she owes me another episode of Doctor Who.
Hers was more labor intensive. For her, for sure.
I get
but the Muppets is classic.
They are.
Yeah, I mean it was good, and like I also Christmas Carol is technically a time travel show, so it's right in my wheelhouse anyway.
It's definitely dimensional. Those ghosts were time lords.
I wasn't allowed to watch the Muppets.
The Muppets you weren't allowed to?
Even I was in a crazy conservative household, and I could still watch the Muppets.
Sinful Muppets.
Yeah. Is it because their like hands were up their butts?
Because
is that
of
what the problem?
Yeah.
I get it. Looking back now, that was filthy.
I started that joke. I'm like, this is an after brunch.
No, but I was curious. Could you really not watch the Muppets?
No, I made an after brunch joke.
Oh, got you.
Sorry, guys.
I was like, because there were cartoons I couldn't watch the Smurfs. I wasn't allowed to watch the Smurfs because
of communist
mysticism.
Oh, wait, seriously?
Because of Gargamel?
No, because of Pat Robertson's dead ass. Oh wait, is he dead yet?
Yeah.
Is he for real?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So like he, because it was a couple things. I couldn't watch My Little Pony because anything that had magic.
Really?
Yeah, anything that had magic, he would just be like, "That's mysticism, and that's how the devil gets your kids."
Friendship
and then
and
makes
magic.
them all gay. And so yeah, I'm like,
I thought you were Catholic though.
so
Pat
here's the-
Robinson's on that weird.
It's a crossover.
Let me give you my origin story, Dyke. Okay, so I was baptized Catholic as a child. So the rules of Catholicism, once you're baptized Catholic, it's like the mob. You're in there forever. So I am technically...
Oh, I know.
I know you know.
I'm a friend of ours.
But when I was 4, my mom switched from Catholicism to evangelicalism. So that's how, you know,
Oh.
700 Club. But he sold it to what became TBN.
That's what I like about Catholics is we're all just we mind our business, you know, like Catholics aren't out there trying to make other Catholics.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it's because it's been around for 2,000 years. Like, they're not as motivated like Protestantism. That's only about 500 years. So they haven't had time to get tired of it yet. For Catholicism, it's just kind of like, yeah, you know, it's what we do. We don't make a thing about it. It's like Judaism. Jewish people don't go knocking on your doors like, you want to be Jewish now?
No.
It's like, no, they're just cool.
Jews mind their business,
They
and that's
do.
why I like them.
But their thing is 5,000 years old. They have had time to mellow out.
Yeah, I don't like anything. I don't like anything that tries to convert you. Like, I don't like telemarketers, you know? Like, I don't like...
It's like, you come into my house and try to make me buy things?
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Like, no, if your religion was cool enough, you wouldn't be so thirsty to get other people involved in
Whenever
it.
anybody's doing anything that is good, you're just going to ask. Like, if you see somebody and they look like crap and then all of a sudden they look amazing, it's like, what have you been doing? And they're never like, Catholicism. It's like, maybe I should start. It's like, no. It's always like, yeah, I started doing CrossFit. It's like, I'm not doing that.
So I feel like we lost a lot of the audience already talking about. We went hard in the nerd pain off top.
I kind of feel like everyone wants to hear about our religious political views, Batman, and Doctor Who.
We went in order of importance too. We did Batman, Doctor Who,
for sure, dude.
and then
Let's
the Catholic
talk about
Church.
something cool.
Well, I wanted to talk about the theme of the day,
Okay.
which is the tour to Coops.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you kind of agreed to do this, not quite sure knowing what you got yourself into. I feel like that's kind of par for the course. You agree to stuff and then you're like, so what exactly is it that we're doing here today?
I'm big on yes and. I'm just gonna.
Well, you came down, by the way, thank you. You came down, you were part of the last day of summer camp.
Yes, thanks
You
for
came down and-
inviting me. I had such a good time.
You led a very fun activity, which was the coffee and canvas.
Yes.
And I've had a lot of people, that was the only thing that people wanted to do that day. You know what I'm saying? It was like, that was like the perfect amount of activity
Good. I'm glad.
for the last day.
I'm
And having
glad.
someone come in fresh on the last day, you know, like you weren't bogged down by the heat, you weren't beat down, you know, like everyone else had been like through a war.
Well, I heard about the rave.
Yeah.
I feel like that could probably take a lot out of you.
Yeah, it did.
For sure. You know, because this was your first year doing it. When you're going into a thing and you don't know what it's going to be, it's kind of like, oh, I hope no one hates me.
Yeah.
So after this, I'm glad it went well.
I hope I don't look foolish at the end of this.
Yeah.
But no, you had a bunch of different
Mediums.
mediums and a bunch of different sizes of canvas. You posed some fruit in a very suggestive position.
I just kind of knew my audience.
Yeah,
I
it was
feel like
great.
everybody would get a kick out of that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and I mean, there was just fruit right there.
Yeah.
And classically, that is what you're supposed to draw. I mean, in real life, when I took a drawing class at Heron, like, they had us drawing bananas. Like, they're hard to draw because of how they, you know, the what are the dimensions and stuff like that. So it's technically classy, and I'm standing by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, phallus fruits. You came in with like big art teacher vibes, and it was
I was
very
going
fun.
for Bob Ross.
Oh, were you?
But I ended up pinning the fro back. I didn't want to be too intimidating. But I noticed when I wear my fro out, kids love it. Like, kids come up to me and stuff like that. They are just so excited to see a fro. So
yeah, it was great.
I used to have the biggest afro at Ben Davis when I went there.
Oh, see,
And it was also
that's clout.
orange because I had bleached my hair.
Yes.
But it was the only day the black girls would talk to me. It was really the only day black girls would talk to me is when I froed up. It was like I was invisible the rest of the year. And then I would fro up my hair and they would all come by and touch it and I'd get attention.
Can I tell you something about black women? We love hair. We really do. I've made a whole career out of it. I just love hair.
But today you signed up for the tour to Coops,
did.
not knowing exactly what it is.
I did. I just really learned what was going on today.
But the tour to Coops is something that was started by my friend Andy Brake, who is a camp alumni, and he owns the business Agrarian in South Broad Ripple, and they sell like urban farming supplies. It's a great shop, but he decided to do this thing about 10 years ago called the Tour to Coops, where you go and it's basically the Meridian Kessler tour of backyard chicken coops.
Yeah.
You go around and it's a self-guided tour. It's through some beautiful homes in the South Broad Ripple area, and people.
Okay, this is what you should have sent me.
Yeah.
Tell us how Dyke pitched it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Me and Moni, we've been talking about, well, just generally being in the pod space because most podcasters are men, and men and women communicate differently. So, like for me and Moni, it's easy for us to plan stuff because we're almost a hive mind at this point. So we're always like, man, we're like, boys communicate so differently. So, because I was trying to tell her about it, and I'm like, I don't know, there's something with a bike. I need a bike. And also too, it shows how much I trust you guys. Like, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be like some fluckery. You know what I mean? It's only going to be so crazy if it is. So I was like, yeah, it'll be fine, whatever. But yeah, having this website would have been great, and the fact that it's chicken coops.
Yes.
And see, I didn't know that.
What did he say?
Okay, actually, because when we were doing our podcast yesterday, and we were doing the Patreon, so I just read our text exchanges.
Oh no!
And so on the air,
on blast on the Patreon.
And actually, I'm just gonna do that now because it was actually
you're
pretty
roasting
funny.
him. You're roasting
It's not a
him.
roast.
I like
it's
this.
just literally funny. Okay, so this Friday, September 1st, Dyke, do you have a bicycle? Me, sadly, no, I don't.
He started that out with like, "Do you have a bicycle?"
Yeah, first
Okay.
text, and then I'm like. And then I responded, sadly, no, I don't. And then there's just nothing. And then I text back, no follow-up? Question mark.
Just taking a survey.
Yeah, it gets better. He's like, no, sorry, I was on the phone with Chase Bank. We have an idea for an upcoming episode of Harder Brunch that involves some bike riding. Have you ever heard of the Tour to Coops? I respond, I just Googled it. I could probably borrow one. I know Moni has a bike. Dyke. So it sounds like fun. I think the idea is to maybe meet up for an early podcast, then do breakfast in South Broad Ripple, and then do the Tour to Coops on Sunday, September 17th. We'd like you to be our returning guest and then ride with us. Me, that sounds awesome. Let me check with Moni. Now it's Monday, September 4th. And then Dyke, he's like, did you secure a bike? Me, almost. I'm waiting for Moni to get back from Detroit, and I actually want to try before being filmed. I haven't been on a bike in over a decade. Dyke says, oh, they say it's just like riding a bike.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, he's and that was, there was a laugh break when I was on the pod. I was like, he's a professional comedian. And then I said, I feel like if anyone could forget, it would be me. And then he makes a joke about chasing. I say I'm scared. Now we're to this week. So it's like, hello, just following up about Sunday. Wanted to see if what's up for the next weekend. Monday, I didn't hear. Oh, that was Monday. And then Wednesday, I hadn't heard anything. So I texted again. Didn't hear anything. Now it's yesterday. And he texts, sorry, lost my phone in Uber last Saturday. And then I put in parentheses in my mind, like a bad bitch. And then I just got it back. So I've been Amish all week. And yes, we're still doing it. Are you still down? And then we've still been trying. And I still didn't find out until what it was until just a couple hours ago.
Well, I'll tell you, I know exactly where the breakdown in communication was. When you said just Googled it,
Yeah, that was.
I assumed that you absorbed all the information.
Yeah.
No, it was a
what it was.
Brazilian thing.
What?
Yeah, when I
What?
Googled Tour de Coupe, it was like a bike thing they did in Brazil or something. So it didn't bring up the local thing.
Well,
It
yeah,
knows I'm
gotcha.
international.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Yeah, but I think that for me would be the breakdown. Like, oh, they know how to read. They figured it. They figured
She
it out.
has a whole podcast bragging about how she can read.
I think this is an important lesson to everybody. Everyone should know everyone has a different algorithm. So like when I Google stuff, it doesn't come up. What I Google doesn't necessarily, what comes up for me isn't what comes up for you.
What did you think about the communication, Zach? I want you to be the final judge.
The first time I did Tour de Coupe, it came up with the whatever you came
Brazilian
up with.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, because I spelled it Coupe.
I think I did too.
Yep.
Oh, that's how I would spell
Because
it.
it's a play on the words,
Yeah.
and you don't assume that they're talking about chicken coops. What I thought was interesting, that the chickens was the selling point to you. That you were like, that you heard bicycle ride and you were questionable, but then you heard we're going to look at chicken coops and you said, that's definitely a go.
Well, because I want
That's
a
what I
chicken
thought, too.
coop.
Oh, this is great.
I love eggs. We had omelets today. Thank you for that. We had custom made omelets for brunch.
I didn't even get that. I didn't even get it until just now.
What? That's where like you're only doing one thing, and I was like, yeah, we're doing.
I'm so happy right now.
I thought you were just like, hey, like things are, we got to move quick. The quickest thing we can do is eggs. And I'm like, oh, I'm fine with that.
No, I love eggs. I tried being vegan for a while and I had to stop because I missed eggs so much. So yeah, to me, I would love to have fresh eggs every morning from a coop. And when the place I was working before, I would hear the roosters in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, wait, was that a rooster? And I'm like, I wasn't in the country. So I was like, this is interesting. So yeah, I'm super into chicken coops.
I'm not sure if they're doing it this year, but at previous years they've done it where when you buy your map, you get entered in a raffle sometimes to win a backyard chicken coop. And not last time, but one time I went. I think maybe it was the last time I went. My friend won that I brought. And then she was like, I don't know what to do with this chicken coop. And then she gave it to someone else.
That's dope. I've also gotten super into Young Sheldon lately, and chicken coops are like a big part of that show. So yeah, because everybody sneaks off to the chicken coop to have secret conversations. Because no one likes being in there because it's like loud and smelly.
But yeah, it's also not. I think when you hear Tour de Coupe, it sounds because you were like, is this going to be like a 100-mile bike ride or something?
That's what my concern
Like
was.
this is a easy breezy bar crawl, or like it's not a bar crawl, it's a house crawl. But we'll bring some beers, and I mean it's never more than like half a mile between houses.
So I could probably, because here's my thing, I'm a runner. Like I'll run like 3 miles every morning. Like I don't mind like walking, running, but biking has always been, we touched on this earlier at brunch, like a spot of trauma for me.
Yeah, and why would I didn't hear the actual story.
I didn't tell it. You said save it for the podcast, and I did. I'm very compliant. So I was the last kid to learn how to ride a bike in my neighborhood. Okay. Because I was scared. Like to me, and also I was the last kid in my class to learn how to drive. Like to me, I'm the opposite of Ricky Bobby. I don't want to go fast. So to me, velocity is scary to me because I think about, stuff like that, flying over the handlebars. I fall walking a lot.
Sure.
So, whenever you add speed to it, it just gets kind of dangerous. And then my cousin, she loves this story of like when I was visiting family in Tennessee and we were outside riding bikes and my grandparents lived on a hill. And so I'm from Indiana. I'm not used to riding a bike on a hill. So I lost control. And then my cousins kind of swerved me into the cesspool. Oh. Also didn't know what a cesspool was because I'm from civilization. So I'm like, yeah. So they ended, and so I'm soaked. My clothes are ruined. My shoes are ruined. And then I made the comment, I got these pants from Target because I'd used my own money. And that just sent them into fits of laughter like you did just now. And then to this day, it makes my cousin so incredibly happy to hear and tell that story because I was miserable and sad and covered in sewage.
Cess.
Yes, cess.
What is a cesspool? I mean, I've heard the term, but like...
It's basically just a pool of shit.
Okay.
Like, it's something that when you do... I mean, we can get the right... It's bad.
Oh, it's like a personal...
It wasn't deep.
Sewage
It was
system?
a shallow one for sure, but because they
Like a
were out
backyard
in the
system?
country, it's a country kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Once again, if you grow up in a city, you're like, what the hell?
It doesn't sound like of all possible things to fall into, cesspool does not sound good.
It wasn't great. And then when I was learning how to ride a bike, I would fall all the time. So I just associate bike riding with pain.
Well, we're going to associate it with having a fun time today.
Okay. We're going to make some new memories
We're
around
going to make
biking.
some new memories. And I think the combination of, here's the thing, we're going to pair it with something that you are interested in, which is these backyard chicken coops. And I'm going to tell you, if you're already hankering for a backyard chicken coop, we're gonna go see the upper echelon of bougie backyard chicken coops.
Wow, this is going to be the
Like,
HGTV of chicken coops.
Yes, this ain't your mama's chicken coop.
Man.
Like, these are people that are so into their backyard chicken coop that they want to show it off on a tour.
And
They
not
want
for
strangers to come in.
nothing, Like, I'm a carnivore too, so I would also like to have like fresh meat as well. So my mom would tell me stories about my great grandmother who is from the country, and so when they wanted chicken, they'd have to kill a chicken, and she'd like grab it by the neck and swing it over her head to break its neck.
I don't
Yeah.
think there's an animal I would much rather kill than a chicken.
They're
Like,
not nice.
like if I had to pick, I could feel like I could kill chickens all
And
day.
geese. I feel like geese are the biggest jerks out of all the birds.
Chickens are close.
Yeah.
They're assholes.
They are.
Like,
They're not. They're just mini dinosaurs. I have to remember that.
Mine's pandas. But like I
Endangered pandas. Those are the most delicious.
so when you said chicken tour de coupe, I thought it was tour de coup, which in Haiti when you spell coupe or is coup. So I thought we were going on a tour of like overthrowing houses or governments. So
I mean, we still can do that. I gotta say, one of the big bummers was there had a chance to take it in the chicken limo. So instead of bikes,
I saw
a chicken
that
limo is going to
yesterday.
drive somebody around today to all of these. And I'm like, that could next year that should be us.
I mean, I would have said yes immediately if it had been the chicken limousine and I didn't have to be on a bike.
Well, I told Chris King about that. He's like, why don't we just buy one? I was like, all right, that's your answer to everything.
Yeah.
buy a chicken limousine.
Well, like, pay for one.
Oh.
I feel like there's more than one chicken limo. I feel like they have multiple ones. So maybe one person won the chicken limo, but then we were to be the other. I don't know. Maybe this for next year. We'll see how it goes. I can't wait to see how everyone's experience is because I've had varied experiences over the years.
So you've done this before?
So I did it the very first year, and like this was back when I was like into like I wouldn't even say into like I didn't have a car, so I was only riding a bike. And
Wait, who laughed? That was mean.
so I was like used to riding my bike from Irvington to downtown just for travel to work. And so like what we did was we rode from downtown to like the sinking ship, and then we would have like a couple drinks, and then like but we like started off drinking way early in the morning and then riding all over town. So like riding from like downtown to sinking ship. We didn't get to like the place to get the maps until I think it was the last hour.
Okay.
And I had been talking of this. I always talk this up to everyone because you always have to kind of trick people into going a little bit.
Sure.
And these people were bike riding people, but they were just like, what are we doing? And so we didn't get into the last minute. And I was like, I'm going to see at least one goddamn chicken coop before this day is over. And we're just all so drunk and so tired. And I remember we pulled up in this yard and like go into the backyard, and then it's just like, yep, that's chicken coop. And then on the way back, it felt like I was being tortured. I was like, this is so much. This is an hour bike ride back. Like, I wish I'd never done this. But then the next year we went, did a little bit smarter, and actually got to see multiple ones. And it's crazy the difference in people's houses. And like, there was one house where they literally gave you like booties to wear. You had to put them like slip over your shoes so you didn't like track stuff in their yard. They were very particular. Sometimes people come and it's just like sometimes they'll have a cooler of beer. One very funny house served chicken wings one time, which I thought was great.
It's very apropos. Some of these chicken, you guys are showing some different chicken coops. Some of these chickens are living better than I am.
Oh yeah, some of these will make you probably angry. Some of the chicken coop houses.
Oh, spoiler! I'm so excited to see this now.
So this will be your first time, Thad?
I don't do this.
Okay.
This is everyone's first time except for me.
Okay.
So you guys are all in the first year experience, which is perfect. I feel like.
Okay.
Is this the thing that people only want to do 1 year? And that you have to drag a new crop of people out to every year?
I call them suckers. That's what I call them. You gotta find
not even your experiences. You haven't talked about a good year.
You
talked about your terrible first year, how you never wanted to come back, and then you had a better plan the next year.
Well, let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back, and I'll tell you about the good times on the tour to Coops.
Oh.
This week on the After Brunch Podcast.
Yeah.
Y'all do a sleep study.
No, I'm not doing none of that shit.
What if I put you? What if I do a sleep study on you?
Yeah.
And I sit perched over you for 2 days with rudimentary tools.
Rudimentary? Like what?
I know what.
Legal pad and a headlamp.
For sure. I'm gonna take a stenographer's pad.
Join us at patreon.com/harderbrunch.
Welcome back. We're talking about the tour to Coops. I was trying to talk about some of the good memories. I've had really good days where it was a beautiful September afternoon and you get out there and there's something fun about riding bikes in a group as an adult. And I think what it is because like when you're a kid, you just jump on your bike and go. But when you're an adult, it is a process. Like you have to make sure. Like I feel like when you're a kid, your bike is just always ready to go. It's always like you just jump on it and go. As an adult, it's like there's a lot of maintenance and you're like hidden fees and you're like theft. And then like, you know, we were talking about how do we physically get our bikes to where we need to be and this and that and the other. But like there's something that when you get on and then especially when it's just a leisurely ride, you know, it's like this is not going to be let's ride from uptown to downtown and doing a time trial. It's a few blocks at most and then there's something to do and like kind of check off of a list. And then there's a game aspect to it, you know. It's just like, okay, well we have this much time. How many chicken coops do you think we can see by the end of the day?
Is that the goal?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you know, and then it's like after you see the first one, then you're just like, okay, it's gonna register somewhere. You know, you're like, okay, I guess this is what the day is. But then you see the second one, and it's either better or worse than the first one. And now you really want to see that third one because you're like, wait a second, is it going to be like a really cool chicken coop
or a sucky one?
A really sucky one. And then you're like guessing in your mind. And also, it's not just the chicken coop; it's also just to see the people whose house it is.
Sure, like
and
who's keeping chickens?
Yeah, what their house looks like compared to their chicken coop. What their attitude is about all these strangers coming to their house. And then like when you finally get there and you're like, man, we put a lot of effort into doing this today. And then you're just standing in a stranger's backyard and you're just like, yep, that's a chicken coop.
I think my goal is to one day just to be on the chicken coop line. I feel like I would like that. Like just
to be a host.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because this is the kind of thing I like. Like I do like people, but I like the idea of them not staying too long and being outside.
Yeah. I mean, so one year when I had my food truck, we were a stop on the thing and it was like, we made like an egg burger. Nobody really came by. Like I think we had like 10 visitors all day.
I love an egg on a cheeseburger.
It's so good.
It is.
I like there being like one angry guy. They're like, "There's no chicken coops here. I told you to take me off the map." Just throwing eggs at people.
But we did it some years where we just made it like a full on. I would really sell people on the bar crawl part of it, you know, and I'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna meet at the Singing Ship, and then we're gonna have some drinks, and then we're gonna go to this place and have some drinks, and then we're gonna do some backyard chicken coops, and then we're gonna go to this place and have some drinks." And they're like, "Wait, what was that part in the middle?" And I was like, "Don't you worry, we're gonna be so drunk, it's gonna be so much fun."
See, I want to do like an art crawl, like go to different galleries and get hammered. What were you gonna say, Zach?
How many of these have you gone on? What year is this? And including the ones that you like participated in, like were a stop.
I honestly only think maybe 5.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's a lot.
That's still quite a few.
I mean, I definitely did the first. The first one was rough. I definitely did the first one. There was the one that I worked. There was, I feel like 1 or 2 where I had like a big actual like group. And then like the last year was just like Chris King and me and Rizal. And then I haven't done it, and obviously COVID and stuff like that. I hadn't done it in a number of years. That is awesome. Baba Yaga house.
Oh, because a lot of these are like, oh, I just want this tiny house in my backyard.
Yeah.
The ones that Casey's showing, are these ones in Indianapolis or are these?
No.
Okay, these are just random coops. Okay.
Wow.
But yeah, I think it's going to be real fun, and I feel like there's something silly always happens.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I said yes. This is the beauty of yes and. Like, sometimes it's terrible, but then sometimes it's great.
Never with Harder Brunch though. It hasn't been
No,
terrible.
I haven't had any bad surprises here. I'm trying to think. No, it's been good.
That's good. That's the seal. Well, and you went on to your podcast and you guys did a live stream and you were talking about what a great time you had, and then you guys talked for about 5 minutes about how you did not get sexually harassed when you came over here.
It's extraordinary.
I was like, man, the bar is set very low for us, isn't
it's
it?
in hell. Like, basically everything is just about, avoiding sexual assault.
Well,
Yep.
I feel like having a bicycle will really help
Help
with
you
that.
get away from
you
attackers.
you could just jump on it.
Yeah.
I feel like speaking of being assaulted, Thad really buried the lead on this story from yesterday. So let me tell you from my angle what happened about.
Okay.
He referred to it as a Batman villain, which made more sense to me, but it was a weird setup to the thing.
Okay.
So we were going out for breakfast yesterday, and Thad just kind of drove towards downtown, and we just started talking. And then we get downtown, and he's like, so where are we actually going? And I was like, I don't think we discussed that. And then we see the street festival, and we see a bunch of, like, different, like, Latin American, like, food trucks.
I saw that.
And we were like, oh, let's stop here.
So there was a lot of balloons.
Yeah. And I believe it was the Fiesta del Plaza or something.
Yeah.
And, which makes me think that it was a lot of white people that put on this thing.
Maybe.
There's
There's white Latinx people.
But
There was a lot of Venezuelans dancing, which I tend to enjoy.
well, they had some authentic dancers.
Okay.
But they had a lot of really good food trucks lined up. And I was like, they had a Venezuelan food truck, the Mexican food truck, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna get some good food here. And so we go up and we got some like birria tacos, and like we went and they have these kind of like art displays down there, and we were kind of sitting on one eating our breakfast. And then we're kind of finishing up, and I see this guy coming. He's like walking down the path, and he's just like screaming at people, just like. And I watch him like scream, and then like obviously disturb a few people, and then he kind of smiled to himself like, got him, and like he's walking kind of like directly like gonna like intersect with us. And so I'm just watching him now, like, oh, this guy's gonna be some sort of issue. And like Thad has his back to him, and Thad, for whatever reason, he just got done eating, and he pulls out his wallet, and he pulls out like, and it's like a 20 wrapped around like a 10.
That was 100, my guy.
That was 100.
Yeah, because
It was 600s.
It was 100
all wrapped together.
It was 100 wrapped around a 20, which makes more sense now because this guy all of a sudden turned into like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. And he just saw that money, and I saw his eyes turn as big as saucers, and then he just started walking towards Thad, and I'm looking at him in the eye, and I'm just shaking my head like, nope, don't do that. And then he just started, and I was like, hey Thad, like let's start walking. And then the guy just started following Thad to the point where it's like
I would stop.
Thad's walking, this guy's following him, and I'm following the guy. And we're just kind of walking, and I'm just like trying to motion to Thad to like pull off somewhere. And like Thad would like stop and pretend to tie a shoe or something, and the guy would just stop and just wait.
Oh, that is
Right beside me.
Yeah, and then it was
I even
just,
went backwards a little bit. He came a little bit back. I was like,
and then we started like being ridiculous where we pretend to go into another food truck line.
Yeah.
And then he would wait in line with us.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, at this point, I'm like,
maybe he just wanted your number.
I was like, either this is going to become like,
Maybe he thought it was romantic.
either this is going to become like a physical altercation, or it's at very least going to become a loud argument or something.
Could y'all fight him? Like, how big was
Oh, yeah. That was the other thing is like, either one of us would have been fine by ourselves.
We would have broken him.
So it was more, but here's the
You're Batman and Robin.
here's the flip side. Like, I understand, like, if you were like physically intimidated, that's one complete story. But the other side of that story is me thinking through what that looks like. I was like, oh, 3 black guys getting into a fight in a public place.
Oh, at the
like,
Latinx restaurant.
yeah, and like, who's the good black? Who's the bad black?
Well,
you know?
obviously you're the light one.
Well,
Sorry, Casey.
Thad ends up getting shot. The homeless guy goes through. Like, shit shouldn't have been so dark. You made things confusing.
Yeah. Oh,
So
man.
I'm just kind of thinking about how bad this can go, and not like this is like a fact. There's kids around and stuff,
Yeah.
and so like walking in, but it's getting suffocating.
You needed Batman.
It's getting suffocating. The like how close this guy is, and how much he's just
how he's acting.
Yeah, it was aggressive.
And so
Did he give you like maybe addiction vibes?
oh yeah, I mean he gave me mental illness vibes for sure.
Sure.
Like I didn't want to get bit. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. For sure.
He would have turned. And so then we're walking past, and just out of nowhere, I see this little cop, and I gotta say, like he's a tiny man.
Okay.
But I see a little cop, and the cop is looking at the guy, and we're walking past, and I just snitched. I dropped the dime so hard. I go, this guy's following us. This guy's following us, sir.
It was tough. It was tough to see. It was tough to see, and I was like, "Wait, what did we just do?" I'm like, "We definitely could have taken this guy."
I mean, I'm not necessarily pro snitching, but I'm pro staying alive and
Well,
not causing a scene.
If this was, if this was a Venezuelan man, I would have felt better. If this was a white man,
I would say I
Even
feel like
better.
it was the lesser of two
It was
evils of
another
us.
black
Like, just,
man.
Yes.
if I was just housing a guy at a fucking
Yeah.
festival, and all the cop did, I would say this is he asked him to cross the street,
Good.
and then the guy kind of went off crossing the street cussing. It didn't feel good what I did, but then
I like it because it's better than you calling me from county.
No, it gets
being
worse.
like, hey, we're gonna have to reschedule.
Yeah.
Thanks for accepting the call
Right.
first. And then like, yeah, we're gonna have to reschedule
Well,
because
it gets worse.
I'm in city county. Oh, it's not over?
No.
No, it gets worse. Because I'm already like, oh, we just snitched up. Because I'm thinking, I'm always like, that could be me traveling in the future.
Sure.
I'm like, did you just snitch on future me? Like, I'm down on my luck right now, just trying to.
Like on Doctor
Wait, are
Who.
you gonna rob yourself if your
Like,
future
I'm-
you?
I mean, I think if this future me was like, hey, you got $100, this would really help us out in the future.
But would you have said anything, or would you have lurked for like 3
Well,
food
I would have
trucks?
like pulled it. Like I'd wait till we got off to the side. I'm like, hey man, I know I look a little bit different and disheveled, and like
I know I have a new body.
yeah, like I'm very skinny. But like if you give this $100, you can change. Like you can change time. But anyways, go ahead. So the cop comes back up to us.
Yeah, so like to me the thing is done. The guy's crossed the street. Like we're on the way to our car. Like everything's like it's over. And then I see the cop coming back up to us, and I'm just like, what now? Like this is done. Like there shouldn't be. And I'm like I'm thinking immediately like, are we in trouble now? Like what? And the cop comes up, and he was like, thanks for reporting that. And then just kind of sticks out his hand, and I just out of just
So for about a minute, Dyke is on the corner with this cop shaking his hand. And this guy's shaking Dyke's hand like he saved his life. Like he was the old captain. Like, hey, you taught me everything I know. And I'm like, dude, if someone takes a picture right now, we're done. We're done.
Harder
In this
snitches.
story,
Yeah, why are we shaking hands?
in this story, I like to think that it's what Batman should have done, which is cooperated with the police more. Like that was Commissioner Gordon, basically. And that was
It was his nephew. He was so tiny.
He was so
It was like, because it looked like we were setting him up to get beat up.
wow.
Like the cop's like, you can't just take him yourself. Anyways.
I think this was a heroic story about you surviving a stalking
Yeah.
incident.
I'm not anti-cop.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't look
That's
back.
a good thing to say.
Can we clip that?
Yeah, I'm not anti-cop either.
I think there should be more.
I didn't.
I like law enforcement. I think they need a new rebrand. That's what I think.
There we
I
go.
think we should stop calling them the police, because that word is a little tainted now. And they're just law enforcement and constables. I always like that word better because it just sounds.
Constables is better.
What
It
about
is.
Bobby? Just call him Bobby's.
No, that's for the dirty British.
I'm not
We can
anti-cop.
steal their sci-fi, but we're not taking up their law enforcement
Yeah.
stuff. I'm just kidding. I love the.
I'm not anti-cop. I'm anti-system.
Okay. I mean,
We'll
but we
break
have
it down
to-
a little bit later.
No, don't say something you think sounds smart. Leave it alone.
No. That's I could back that all the way up.
No, I want them to rebrand. I want new. Actually, because I want to rebrand the U.S. It's a little tainted.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like I think we need new. I don't like two primary colors together on one flag. I think we need to pick one primary color, so either red or blue, and then just kind of we just need a whole new. We need a new branding document, basically. For
You
the
trying to
country.
reboot the United States
A
of
little
America?
bit, like just kind of a
I mean,
just
we need
a,
to-
yeah, just kind of like a refresher. It's been over 200 years. We need to just kind of revitalize her a little bit.
Well, I will say this was one of my most interesting things of like the summer of 2020 to me was, do you remember the Chad in Oregon or in what is it, Washington? Like it was in it was out by Seattle. It was called like, basically there was like a block that was taken over for like 6 weeks, and they called it the Chad. It was like all the police left the area.
A little bit. It was 2000.
There was a lot happening.
2020 was a wild
There was a
time.
lot happening. So like there was this, basically it was like a neighborhood that like everyone in it said no police have to leave. Like the people took over a police station and they pushed the police
This had
out.
to be white people.
Yes, mostly. Okay. No, but there was some. Here's the interesting part.
Okay.
So they took it over, and this was during all of the defund the police, all this stuff, Occupy this,
whatever.
that. And so they push everyone out, right? And they take over, and they basically were running it as an armed militia for like 2 or 3 weeks. And within 2 weeks, this peaceful protest had started their own armed security force, and they shot an unarmed black teenager.
Of course they did.
And so it just really shows that like there's like a power vacuum, and then like at the end of the day, a black teenager's getting shot.
Still. Wow. Maybe you're right, Thad. We have to rework the system.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think that you're right.
Because if you're upholding a system that is already corrupt, you then become corrupt.
Yeah, I mean,
Like the
that's
Stanford prison system.
Does anybody? I mean, we're not cool. I'm just gonna keep talking about nerd stuff. Did anybody watch Foundation or read it? Like the Isaac Asimov book.
Oh, the one that's on Apple TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, watching it, but I haven't read it.
You know it's a book.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm
still getting through Dr. Seuss right now.
I'm talking to the listeners. I don't know if the listeners know. But like, yes, it was a book, but are you caught up on the series?
I'm on the second season.
Okay, yeah, me too, but I'm not all the way caught up. But
Right.
It's the same thing where like they're trying to break away from Empire, but Foundation just ends up being like as cultish and controlling. Like Harry Sheldon ends up kind of deifying himself, even though he was trying to save them from this like empire that refused to die, like to the point where the emperor just started cloning himself so he can just keep living forever.
Yeah, right.
And ruling everything. It's really good, but it does. I feel like that's why I've been drawn to sci-fi, because you're able to study these like really complicated social political issues without the lens of our biases.
Yes.
Thank you, Thad. Amen, amen. I'm here preaching. It's Sunday and I'm preaching. So yeah, I feel like that's what we need, creative thinking, because thinking the way we have is going to get us out of this. Like we can't just be like, okay, it'll be better if I'm in charge. It's like, no, you'll fuck it up too.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's just a beady little rat at the end of the day.
Yeah, weasels. That's why we have to have checks on power. Because, like, yeah, we would think almost like, well, if I was in power, I would do this, and this. Like, no, you turn into Gollum like everybody else.
Yeah. Well, it was like Animal Farm, right?
Yes.
Like, it's
or
just like
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. No, if I was in power, I'd be bad. Like I would, if I was in power, I'd have a celebrity death match day one, and then.
Ooh, who's in? Okay, I like this already.
So I'm having Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift,
but who's she fighting?
She's Miley Cyrus. I've already thought of, and I like both of them, but both of them. Listen,
I almost started crying.
Someone has to go,
but someone has to go. Let's just say for Taylor's head gets.
No, I'm cheering for Miley.
Something happens to Taylor, and then after she dies, we just wait. And I'm like, yeah, that's the new system right now. And I'm wait to see what happens. And the people that rise up,
you can loud. Calm down.
no. The people that rise up, the people that rise up and say that was wrong, that's who I start putting in leadership. Like, yeah, that was kind of fucked up what I did, huh? That was kind of fucked up what I did. I'm against it too, but we had to see who the real ones are that are going to stand up to power.
Wow.
Okay. That's an interesting system. I'm sorry that there had to be the death of
I'm sorry, Taylor Swift. I love you.
Why do you think Miley would? I feel like Miley would win.
Yeah, probably because she's going to come in on a wrecking ball.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's going to come in on a wrecking ball.
She seems scrappier and she works. I don't know, but Taylor's on tour. I feel like that makes you strong too.
Yeah, it's not.
Why are we turning our heroes against each other?
I know.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be like, hey, that's not cool.
But it is kind of like a gladiator kind of situation.
Yeah. You just have one of those days.
Here's the thing: if they brought back live gladiators with lions and stuff, it would be the biggest show on TV.
It would be NFL. The NFL would be like, "Oh, we're taking this over and we're putting it on FanDuel."
No, like animal rights activists would stop that immediately.
You know what? That's right. You're right. Well, no, but the gladiators fought each other. They didn't just fight animals.
Yeah, I think I think the lions technically usually won too.
Yeah. Well, but I think there were bets even then. So I think human beings have always been the same. So for everybody who going confident like lion versus that, I'm putting money on the lion. But then there'd be a weasel like me who drugs the lion before the competition and puts all the money on the underdog and comes out on top.
You put money on me then?
Yeah.
I think if you're going to the expense of having a lion in the Coliseum, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to go through a bunch of lions. You're going to have one lion that just mauls through dudes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't be a part of it. I'd be like the sneaky, who do people call who handle the bets? Those are not agents. What are those people called? Loan sharks.
Bookies?
Bookies. Thank you, Zach. Bookie. I'd be a crooked bookie.
You'd be a crooked bookie?
Mm-hmm. Drugging the lion so I'd know who had the advantage.
I like how every incarnation of you through history is like, I'd be the voodoo wench. I'd be the crooked bookie.
I think I said voodoo priestess, not wench, but sure. But yeah. Yeah. I would. You know what that made me think of though? Because, I like history. So I read a book about one of George Washington's slaves who ran away and never got caught. The book was called Never Caught. And her name was Ona Judge. And while she was on the run, she was still in correspondence with the Washingtons. And they were trying to get her to come back. They're trying to do it nice and be like, girl, look, we know you made a mistake. Just come on back.
Yeah.
Everything will be great. You can be with your family again. It'll be great. And so she's getting tempted because being on the run is hard. But she was like, hey, the only thing I want, because, she had the people, coaching her and stuff because she couldn't read. So she was like, I'll come back, but you just got to promise that any children that I have will be free people. And George Washington was like, fuck no, I don't negotiate with slaves, and called her an ungrateful wench. And so she was like, okay. And so negotiations broke down. And so, as they often do with labor and management, and she decided to be like, fuck this job, and just stayed free the rest of her. She died a free woman.
I'm like, you're talking to me out of the wrong side of your slave teeth, George.
Basically, yeah, he wasn't really with that. But yeah, she was a fascinating historical character. And you think about that blue jacket Washington's always painted in and stuff like that. She made that. Yeah. And like he would lend her out to his rich friends so that she could make their clothes. He made a lot of money off of her. That's what he missed, was the money she wasn't bringing in anymore. And she was probably related to George Washington's wife because she was the daughter of her. She was a dowager slave. She actually belonged to Martha Washington.
Wait, where did she end up though? Because it just says she was never caught.
That's the whole thing. She wasn't really like giving out her location like that.
She wasn't dropping pins?
No, she did a really long interview towards the end of her life for, I want to say it was in Connecticut maybe. She was in the North. Because that was the other thing, too. You had to go to kind of re-education camps. So much of slavery was mental. So a lot of what they did, the Underground Railroad, was psychologically kind of helping you recover from slavery. Yeah.
Yo, I think that would be a great movie. I mean, because they do all this, that, just focusing on what's that re-education look like.
Yeah.
And then, juxtapose
going from property to person.
A person, yeah.
Yeah, going to property to person. And then, juxtapose that to, everyday life now. And, how can we relate?
Yeah. I'm with you. I agree with you, Stan. I think it would be great to see, but it's something that's not broke up because it kind of conflicts with the legacy of George Washington because he was kind of generally seen as a good slave owner because he wasn't rapey, but
The bar is always set
it's
so
so
low.
low. It's so low. But yeah, he
Two types of slave owners.
Yeah.
but like the way he maintained control, he just always kind of kept the family separated so they couldn't run off together.
I found out this week that we are the George Washington of podcasters.
Wait,
What? Why?
time out.
Because you're not rapey. Yes, thank you.
I didn't want to say the whole
I was
thing.
like,
There
did we
we
put
go.
Alexander Hamilton in charge?
Listen, it's been a rough year for celebrity. Well, I don't want you guys to get deplatformed. We're not supposed to say the art crepe or sexually assaulters because you got Danny Masterson who got all that time. Tory Lanez got all that time.
I don't know. Who's Tory Lane?
You don't know who Tory Lanez is? I love your world, Dyke. That's so great.
Is it a sports person? 'Cause
No, it's not. But it's funny how your mind went there when I said sexual assault because it usually is.
It's that Beatles song, Tory Lane.
No,
in my
Tory
ear.
Lanez, he shot at
Oh,
Megan Thee
sorry.
Stallion a couple years ago. He got drunk at Kylie Jenner's house. It's an amazing story, actually. They were just all, how it is. You having pool time at Kylie, one of the Kardashians or whatever. Kylie Jenner's house. You're just chilling. Everyone's getting drunk. They get into it. And Megan, she's got a slick mouth. She was basically kind of going at him career-wise because it's like, I'm better than you. And he was like, all right, well, dance, bitch, and shot at her feet. Shot at her.
Oh.
Shot at her feet.
I thought you meant like shoot a shot.
No, he shot
Oh, okay,
physically with
yeah.
a gun at her feet.
You don't
Yeah.
do that at a party.
No, you don't.
That's
That's
gonna
a party.
that's-
That's a big party,
Party
foul.
foul.
You don't shoot.
You don't. It's a big party foul, especially with this rich white girl's house in LA. Chill out. So he some of the shrapnel got in her foot. So because everyone's like, he didn't shoot her. It's like, okay, he shot at her. Sorry.
But that's still like ignorant. You don't do that.
No, you don't. That's right. And especially because he's a foreigner. He's not even from here. He's from Canada. So it's like, you can't just come into like a foreign country shooting at our pop stars.
You know what? I gotta say the same thing with Drake. I can't believe no Canadian thugs. I'm sorry. I don't
No.
care how hard your life was up there in the.
No, it wasn't
tundra.
In the tundra or whatever. So and it was his second gun charge here. So not only have you come here and acted up, you've done it twice. So yeah,
You got a
have
problem.
to-
He's got a shooting problem.
He does have a shooting problem. So yeah, he got 10 years for that. And also because he violated a lot of the terms too, because the judge ordered him not to talk about it, and he did. And it was intact. He kept calling Megan a liar and was like, yeah, it was a whole thing. So he got 10 years. And then Danny Masterson, same thing. He was kind of like, I ain't do nothing. And he was part of Church Scientology. They were helping him cover it up, and they gave him 30 years.
I don't like
So
that.
yeah, but I mean, he could have avoided by not sexually assaulting people.
Do you think I've been thinking about this a lot this week? Do you think that Scientology is done with him, or do you think they're like putting money on his books for the next 30
Oh, they're
years?
done.
He's
I
just
think
cut
he's
ties.
what do they call them? What's their term for people who are? Oh, damn it!
Like excommunicated.
Not excommunicate. They have a word for people who are but basically it's the same thing. You're shunned. These people who are like, it's not low vibration. They have a word for the type of people like you have to disconnect from, or basically you're just out of favor. But yeah, I'm obsessed with Scientology.
Yeah, it's real interesting.
It is.
It's one of my favorite like cults.
It's my favorite cult. We
Yeah.
just did an episode on cults.
Where's what's her name? Miscavige.
Shelley.
Where's Shelly at?
Where's Shelly Miscavige?
Where's Shelley?
Man, go see Shelly no more.
She's at the bottom of the
I
Bermuda
think-
Triangle.
Yeah, I think Shelly's dead. Or they also have like concentration camps. So she might be at one of the concentration camps.
Excuse me?
Suppressive person. Yeah, so I'm
I'm
sure
gonna start using that instead of toxic. You're being a real suppressive
You're being a
person
real
right now.
suppressive. And he's saying like, basically it's their word for people who are trying to disrupt Scientology's work. Because you don't want to disrupt our grand leader, Ron.
Yeah.
Help me out. When you said concentration camps, is that a real thing?
Yeah, like they really do have. David Miscavige, his dad wrote a book about having to escape one. It's crazy. Like people really do have to physically escape these compounds sometimes. They have people who are just sort of. One of the reasons people aren't believed is because it sounds so crazy.
Yeah.
But there's all kind of
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Punishment farms.
Yeah.
That'd be a different tour de coupe.
And the children who are raised in it, it's super sad too, because they're Scientology believes that age is just an illusion. You're really like a billion-year-old soul in a tiny body. So, as you can get, there's a lot of sexual assault there, and they cover it up. So, Yeah. But on a happier note, some
let's
people
end on a happier note.
people are apprehended. Their stories are getting out there. It's because of the internet. It's a lot harder to run this game because now the thing you'd have to pay hundreds of $1,000s to find out. We all know about the little war. We all know about it now, so that it's harder for them to run their game.
Is what's the guy? Top Gun dude.
Tom Cruise. Yeah.
Is he distancing himself from that?
No. Here's the other thing. They get dirt on you. So, Tom Cruise was going to be a priest before he got into acting. And his, their version of confession, they record it.
Yeah.
So
and
like
blackmail
basically,
you with it.
and blackmail you with it. So he's not going anywhere. And plus they'll take your kids. That's the other thing. Scientology it's really sad because when they broke up, they declared Nicole Kidman a suppressive person. So the kids they adopted together, they don't talk to her. It's like
he can't talk to his kids anymore?
Yeah, that's why, what's his name? Tom Cruise's wife, the Kate Hudson chick. Because her daddy's a lawyer. She had to really coordinate her escape from him because because she's like, I don't want you taking my daughter. So she had to be real slick with how she got away so that their lawyers wouldn't come in and because they do all kind of stuff. They drowned somebody's dog. That to me was I can't mess with them. That's some cold ass shit right there.
I was about to join and you just said that last sentence.
That's right. They drown puppies.
Can you drop a beat for me?
That's what we're going to end with.
We're going to end on drowned puppies.
Guys, this is real awkward, but our new sponsor is actually the Church of Scientology.
I was like, I think we should distance ourselves from them.
I'm sorry. They got deep pockets. I renounce all my further statements.
Kat, thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
for
on the
having
show.
me.
You're always a ray of sunshine.
Thank you. Oh, and watch Fake Ass Book Club, guys. Check us out.
Yeah, where can people find you and follow you on social media?
We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. All the places you can find podcasts. We're there. We'll also be at Made Man Improv at the end of the month. We're just everywhere. Just check us out. We pop up.
There's going to be some opinions
Where?
on your podcast.
Oh, big time. I got a lot of opinions, and I talk a lot.
Thaddaeus Shake.
You can find me at Thad Mckee on Instagram, Threads.
Zach Rowe.
You can find me at Zach_Roan on all social media.
Casey Campbell.
You can find me signing people up for Scientology.
Yeah.
You can reach me on Instagram at Danger Brewer. Also, fuck Batman, he's a cop.
Police.
Casey is the L. Ron Hubbard of Harder Brunch. You can find me at Dyke Michaels across all social media. Also, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Harder Brunch. We have an extensive Patreon library where you can find all kinds of fun stuff of us talking for hours and hours and being silly.
And saying things that are almost illegal.
Almost illegal to say. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.